Colonel Saab, this imagination that cookies are outsiders, do you think that that's also fueling in this discord? Because when I speak to Kuki intellectuals, they say they are as Indian as Meiteis one. Then they have this position that why are we being branded as poppy cultivators, whereas everyone is involved. What happens in the mountains does not remain in mountains. People from the plain are also involved. And the third thing they have to say is that they also fought for freedom. They are as Indian as Meiteis can be. So do you feel that this is also happening because the imagination of Manipur is being imagined differently by two communities, Meiteis and Kukis, and the third party is not there because they are silent, which is Nagas. Generally, this conversation takes place between Kuki and Meiteis, but the third party Nagas is completely absent.
As Mr. Nabashyamji had brought out many points, which are, I think, valid, very valid. When it comes to cookies in Manipur, as per history, it says they came sometimes around 1835. Now, as per the history of Manipur, very briefly going to 2000 BC, the inhabitants of Meitei started at the foothill of Kobru and Nomaiching. There are two peaks basically. They started from there, and the Imphal Valley was full of water. And suddenly something happened, and then it dried up, and then Kangla and Moirang was dried up. And the king of Manipur from 33 AD till today, all the names can be, all the names are recorded, all the kings' names are recorded, and it is still existing and maintaining. Now, from the same clan at Imphal Valley, that is at Imphal, that Kanglei Park, in the 16th century, the Hinduism came to Manipur, and under the leadership, or when the Maharaj Bhekachandra was the king that time, the spread of Hinduism and the belief of Vaishnavism was spread like anything, and the maximum Meiteis became Hindus thereafter. And when they became Hindus, it was including food also. Food habit also was a change, and the Meiteis became vegetarian, basically vegetarian, but fish. They used to eat only fish, and they became vegetarian, and they became very sobered down, as Mr. Nabashyamji had said very correctly. Now, at the time of independence, that time the Meitei, Kuki, and Nagas, what was the status that time? Economically, we are all the same that time. Religion-wise, Meiteis were little organized because of, because you became Hinduism, and many Bengalis came from, access to Bengal and things like that. So the Meiteis were religiously little advanced. But as far as education was concerned, the Nagas and Kukis was better than the Meiteis. I'll just give you one example. The first graduate of Naga, Major Bob Singh, Major Bob Kathing, very famous personality, was the first ambassador to Burma from Manipur, or entire Northeast, the first ambassador from the entire Northeast, Major Bob Kathing. And the second, who was an IS officer, was Mr. T. Kipgen. No, T. Kipgen, K. Kipgen. He retired as the Chief Secretary of Goa, and Mr. T. Kipgen, his son, was the ambassador to Ukraine, and he was ambassador to Ukraine in 1999. In 1999, I happened to meet him in Darjeeling. And at the time of independence, the Meiteis, basically, as far as the education was concerned, there was one Dr. Kamal, a doctor, basically, allopathic doctor, and Dr. What do you call his name? Another doctor was there, and that there was no one in the IAS and IPS at that level. And the modern organization was, with the Nagas and the Kukis. That was just because they became Christians, and the missionaries, they did a very good job in the entire Northeast, I would say. Even I am educated from Don Bosco School, a missionary school, till up to 7 o'clock. Thereafter, I went to Delhi. That was besides. Now, that was the status of the Meiteis, Nagas, and Kukis at that time, at the time of independence. So, it is a different topic when we discuss about scheduled tribe and scheduled tribe demand and things like that. Meiteis are basically very proud people. In, when I was small, nowadays it is not there. When I was small, when a lady goes for a marriage function and he doesn't have any gold ornament, and he used to borrow from the next house, and he used to wear and go for that, because they are very proud. They have to wear something. They have to, whether you have it or not. This kind of culture used to be there with the Meiteis. Meiteis are very proud whether they have it or not. That is a different thing. That is subject, not as per the purview of this talk today. Now, one thing which I feel that the Arambai Tengol has been very misunderstood by the media. Arambai Tengol, I would just say, as Mr. This thing Nabasham had said, then Meiteis are also warriors, martial race, and they used to fight in before the this thing. They used to fight with Burma and various groups and organizations like that. So that time, Arambai that group was there under the king. Okay, that was the army basically, and Arambai is a dart sort of thing which they throw while riding horse, while on the horseback. You attack some village or something, and they have dart, and then they throw it to the other enemy, or let's say different tribe or something like that. Okay, they were very expert in that. So in the modern times, in today's modern time, Thang Ta is an international sport. Kindly note, Thang Ta of Manipur is an international sport recognized by the world, basically. And the Arambai Tengol was not a Tengol, basically. It was some group of youths. They were just, some Meitei boys who are interested in preserving the culture of Meitei, original Meitei before we became Hindus. So they are into martial arts and the Thang Ta, that is fighting with spears and then sword and all those things, decoration dance and all those things, decorative dance and all. So small group was there. And I'll just give you one example. During the Kargil war, I used to be part of the Kargil war. And that time, boys from Maharashtra, Bihar, UP, Punjab, they used to come to Punjab. They wanted to go to Jammu and Kashmir, and they want to fight, because that time the blood was, everyone's blood was hot, and nahi, hum bhi ladenge. We'll also fight. How can they do like this? So that kind of thing. Now on 3rd May, what happened in Manipur? If you refer to Mr. Rajat Sethi, he had given one interview with India TV. Rajat Sethi is a non-Manipuri chap. He is from outside, not Manipuri. He had given certain facts and figures about what happened on 3rd. And that is the same thing which I also heard. And the same thing was heard by others, the local, youths in Imphal in the valley.
But
the reaction
Shanti Kumar, you can continue to you can continue to speak on your point of view. But how do you have certain senior position army, but how do you break this circle of violence? There has to be some sense of ordinariness for a Manipuri, whoever that Manipuri might be. How do you restore that sense of ordinariness so that the children can go to school, the markets can open, rice can be sowed, there's food available on plate, schools function, people come back to their homes. There has to be a sense of normalcy. We cannot have a situation where, like, for example, in 1993, you would remember Mumbai riots. Muslim areas became packed with more Muslims and Hindu areas became packed with more Hindus. I mean to say, there are thousands of ethnicities, hundreds of ethnicities in this country. If this is to happen everywhere after some episode of violence, what will we become? It will be like balkanization of India.
What I feel as of now is that there's a requirement of some organization being formed in Delhi or at some neutral place, not in Manipur, by some person who can take decision detailed by the central government, and the party from Kuki, Naga and Manipur, they should be made to represent, and on the table it should be talked it out. All the opinions should be taken out, and then it can be even live also, so that people come to know, the nation comes to know who is wrong, who is right, and thereafter they can also voice out. So immediate requirement is, like, deploying the forces is fine. It is going on now. The center, state, they are doing it. But on this part, I think immediate action should be taken, that some organization or some forum should be there, that both the parties, both not both, three parties, even Naga should be called. All these three parties should be called, and then from there it should be, it should be talked out. What is the problem? How can we solve the problem? Because
Should
India's
Biren Singh
main
be
aim,
dismissed, sir? Should Biren Singh be dismissed? Is that the answer? President rule?
it is up to the center to decide whether the gravity of situation is, whether the gravity of the situation demands his resignation, or president to be president rule to be kept and all. That is, the central government is mature enough to decide what is to be done. But you know what I feel is that at the center, some table should be arranged so that people can speak out, and
Okay.
in open.
Some sort of a conversation. That's a very important
Yes,
point.
yes.
Some sort of a conversation. Nabashamji, do you think the answer lies in president rule? And a
Before
new
that, let me
committee, a
just
peace
say
committee?
one point. Let me just make one point before coming into that.
Okay. Please go
What
ahead.
happened
Please go
is,
ahead.
you asked something to Colonel Saab regarding this. And let me tell you one thing. There are two groups of people. I mean, two groups of militants which goes into the agreement of SHU. One is UPF, another is KNO. Under these two umbrellas, there are around 30, some 20 to 30 small groups of militant groups with which the government of India is making the agreement, signed. But what is very interesting is there are two signatories. The signatory number one, Thanglenpa Guite, he was a member of parliament of the Burmese parliament. Do you believe this? In 1990, he was elected to the Burmese parliament of Burma, the Myanmarese parliament of Burma. And after that, in 1995, he landed up to Manipur, and somehow he manipulated and got his name enrolled in the voter list, got his Indian passport. You know, he is a foreigner. He's a pakka foreigner. He's an illegal immigrant. I'm not saying all Chinkukis are illegal immigrants. They are immigrants, no problem. From 15th century onwards, these Europeans, they go to America as immigrants. And America is called as land of immigrants. So what? No problem. So why, when we say immigrants to the Chinkuki people, why they should be so sensitive? Because they started coming to Manipur only in 18th century. Then in 19th century started, and this is present bulk of the population of 70%, around 70% are immigrants. Immigrants or sons of immigrants. This is what we say. We are not saying illegal, but this UPF who signed with this UPFC who signed agreement with the government of India, he is a pakka Burmese. How can a foreigner sign with the government of India for a peace agreement? These are things which we have to understand. Now, coming to your point, see, Manipur is a place where there is no law. To be very frank, it's a lawless state, lawlessness state. To be very, the state is just quite lawlessness. I feel the responsibility lies with the Home Ministry, with the government of India, not exactly Home Ministry, but the government of India. As I said, there are 60,000 strong Indian security forces, Assam Rifles, Indian armies, and many other rifles. With that 60,000 strong military forces, how could the government of India allow this violence to go on? How could? How could? I mean, Manipur government is just a helpless. It doesn't have any effect. Manipur government. Maybe this is, Mr. Biren Singh may be kept by the Home Minister for their political advantage because election is around the corner.
Are you
So
saying
if
that
it is put under president
has Biren
rule,
Singh ji failed to do his job? Has he failed as a CM?
Arey, in fact, not only Biren Singh, even the Home Minister of India, he failed, completely failed. 60,000 strong Indian soldiers failed to stop these Sikh militants attacks. As I said at the beginning, attackers are the Chin cookies, not the Meiteis. We only retaliate. The moment they stop firing to the Meiteis, see every day, yesterday also, today also, it will happen. Tomorrow it will happen. There will be no stoppage because they want to put the pot boiling because their idea is
Okay.
to carve out from our state, their own homeland. That is why if they keep quiet, then they will not get it. See, in any case, whether if not for May 3, they will find something else, some other date, some other occasion, and will do something. You know, they are not simple thing. In Burma also, they rebel against the Burmese army. They said they were asking for independent homeland in Burma, and this Burmese government they kicked them out. You know, these are the people like that. They are not simple. In fact, they are not a tribal. You think they are not tribal, they are cosmopolitan. You know, yeah, they claim they are Jews. They are Jewish people. So in fact, it must be having the government of India must be having in records that more than 3,000 Chin Kuki people from Manipur have migrated to Israel because they are the Israeli people.
Okay.
Even they appeal the Israeli Prime Minister to intervene for their Jewish group, for their Jewish people. Means Jewish people means in Kuki people. They are not tribal. When we understand, they are not tribal. It's something very. It's a mistake that their names are put in the scheduled tribe list of the government of India in the constitution. Their names should be removed from the Indian constitution. They are not tribals. They are not hill people. You know,
Okay.
and the thing is, they are only using this tribal. They are not tribal. In fact, Manipur's indigenous people are Meitei and Naga only. Now, I'm not saying that other people should not come. In fact, we also welcome them. Even the Chinkuki people, we welcome. We took them as
Okay.
our own
Let me
brothers,
take this to
sisters.
let me take this to Colonel Saab. Colonel Saab, do you think that only Nagas and Meiteis are indigenous to Manipur and not Kukis?
Yeah, that is a fact. That is a fact. I'm not saying because I am a mighty chap, but they came at around 1835. The first one, they came at around 1835. They were brought by the British, and it is a fact. It is there in the history. And one more thing which I would like to mention over here is not for this thing. As per the history I'm talking about, I am from Assam regiment. That is why I know certain things from the army point of view. In 1917, and before that, the British had taken the kingdom of Manipur. So he told the British people, they told the king that you give 2,000 people to be sent to Europe. They were to be used as porter during the First World War, and some were used. So that is the time that some of the cookies they revolted. That no, we will not go. We will not go. So that was the war, the Kuki Anglo War. That is the war. It is not war. It is a rebel actually. War is between two countries basically. It cannot be called as war. But what happened was during that time, during that war, Anglo-Kuki War, the British observed one thing that the Kukis were also very great fighters. So when Assam Regiment from the northeast, Assam Regiment was raised on 15 June 1941. That time, a lot of Kukis and Lusais were also enrolled, and they did very well during the Second World War in the battle for the defense of Kohima.